All right. Hey, folks. Hi. Hi. I'm Dave. That's Scott. We are now doing Seven Brides for Seven Brothers review. Yay, us. Yay. um, I just want to say, personally, this is one of my favorite musicals of all time. I just love this movie. So I'm hoping that you enjoy it as much as I did. What did you think?
Okay. I have two thoughts on this movie. I really had a good time. I enjoyed, holy shit, the barn raising scene.
Right?
The just the dancing, the music, the acrobatics is the only way I can put. I felt like I was watching a damn circus. They were
Right?
so freaking talented. And
It's absolutely amazing.
the actor who played Adam, I can't think of his name right off the bat. The main
Richard
character.
Keel.
Who?
Richard Keel.
Richard Keel.
Mhm.
Great voice.
Almost sure that was his name, Richard Keel. I know his
Yeah.
last
So
name's Keel.
the singing, the dancing, the choreography is amazing.
Howard Keel. I'm sorry.
Howard
Howard
Keel.
Keel.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was great.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
was actually great in here. Julie Newmar is
I was
in.
going to say, did you catch Julie
Yeah,
Newmar?
I did see
Yeah.
Julie Newmar. Catwoman, yay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But throughout this movie, I had to remind myself that this was made in the 50s. It's set in the late 1800s,
Uh-huh.
and it is now 2020, and I cannot watch this with 2020 sensibilities.
Oh, God, no. God, no.
So,
You have to let it.
yeah.
You have to let your 2020, 2021, whatever the hell the year is
Yeah.
going to be. You got to get out of the 21st century political correct thinking. Absolutely. And you have to understand that the guys all fell in love the minute they saw these women, and the women did too, which is what kind of makes it okay in a weird way. If you want to say kidnapping 7 women or 6 girls out of a small town in the Oregon, it's
I don't know if
okay.
I'm ever going to be okay with the
But
kidnapping and
but but the girls all were in love with these guys too, and that shows whenever um, they're initially brought there. And
yeah,
let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the
yeah.
beginning.
Let's back it on up.
Howard Keel is a mountain man. He has 6 brothers, and the movie opens with him riding through the Echo Pass, and just it's a beautiful scene. I mean, it's
Yes,
just him riding into town to get grub and stuff for
and a wife.
and a wife, and he decides he's going to get a wife. He's there to get grub. He's there to get supplies. And he's like, well, I'm going to get a wife too. And the one guy's looking at him like, that's not how it works, man. You gotta,
Yeah. Well, sure it does.
there's 10 men for every 1 woman out here. You're going to have to go east. And he's like, I ain't got time for that. So he's looking around. He finds Jane Powell, who is just adorable in this role.
Mhm.
But she's tiny. She's very tiny.
Yeah, I
I mean,
noticed that.
he's a big guy. And when you have them standing side by side, she's only about like up to his chest.
Right.
Like she's a tiny person. And he just falls for her because he sees her chopping wood, making grub, and he decides to go into the place where she works, where she's feeding like 12 guys. And he's like, well, this is the perfect wife for me. Let's see how she cooks. So he sits down, and when Jane Powell spots him, you can see it on her face.
Mm-hmm.
She's just totally fallen for Howard Keel. He's just this
Yeah.
big, broad-shouldered, deep-voiced guy who his voice to me sounds like it's coming from the bottom of a cave and
Yes.
resonating out, and just it's thunder. It's like it's how I always thought the god of thunder, Thor, would talk if he was a real person. He's just got that really deep voice.
Right.
Right. It's like, holy crap. And when he sits down, he starts eating his food. He's like, well, you got any ketchup? She says, you don't need ketchup for my food. And he takes a taste, and he's like, he's got the woman. He knows what he's got to do. He's got to marry this woman. And he takes her back. They get married. They go. It's like, so within a couple of hours, he's in town, gets the supplies, gets married, takes her back, and he doesn't tell her that he's got 6 brothers.
No, he doesn't.
She gets introduced to those brothers, and she is none too happy.
No.
It was very, and this is the first time I thought about it, was watching it today, was it's very Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Now that you mention it.
With her coming in and
there's
cleaning and
7 of
taking
them.
care of the brothers. There's 7 of them. And she's the Snow White. And I never picked up on that before. I wonder if the writers meant to do it that way or if it was just
a happy accident.
Yeah, happy accident.
Right.
But the funny thing is the brothers are getting out of hand at one point, and she gets their clothes while they're sleeping and she's cleaning them, and they're waking up the next day. It's like day 2 or day 3 that she's there. And she's decided to put her foot down. And the brothers are looking for their clothes, and she comes up and says, now I want your underwear so I can clean those too. And they're on the full dress, and they don't want to take off. And they're like, she can't boss us around. She's like, well, you ain't getting any food until you give me your clothes to wash. And she makes them shave and take baths and clean their clothes. And these guys just don't know what to do. It's like having a mom back. And it's just so damn funny how when she finally puts her foot down, nobody argues with her. They just do it.
No.
They're just
And I agree with that, but it's also on the flip side, I found it incredibly sad that here are all these adult men who can't cook, can't clean. They need a woman to do it for them. And it's like, oh God,
Oh yeah. Yeah. They were mountain men though. I mean, but the thing is, those mountain men in real life probably could have cooked. At least enough to get by. They had Gideon cooking for them.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, let's go back to Adam when he goes into town.
Yeah.
He falls in love with her at first sight, but not with her. He falls in love with the idea of a woman who can do all of this, and he's seeing her like a cattle, like something that he can part of his farm. Now, as the story progresses, that whole dynamic changes.
Mm-hmm.
But at first, it's like, and that's why I was saying, it's like, I got to unplug here, man. What the hell's wrong with this damn caveman?
Yeah, he's looking for somebody that can work alongside him.
Yep.
And that's the greatest line in that movie is when he's waiting. It's 9:00. It's the first night back in the house, and all the brothers are looking at him like waiting for him to go upstairs. They're like they're nudging each other, and he finally goes upstairs, and he and Ruth are having a conversation, or Millie. I'm sorry, and Millie are having the conversation. And she's like, well, I'll work alongside you, but I won't sleep alongside you.
Yep.
And he's just looking at her. He's like, what? She's like, you're out of here. You're not in this bedroom. He walks out, and all his brothers are standing at the door.
She wants some water.
She wants some water. He goes and gets her water, and he comes back up, and he comes into the room, and he sets the big container of water down. And she's like, you're not supposed to be in here. And he walks out the window and gets into a tree.
Yeah.
And he's going to sleep in the tree at night. She's like, what are you doing up there?
Yeah.
And he's trying to he's trying not to lose face in front of his brothers, but he's also trying not to lose too much face with her.
Yeah.
She's looking at it well, I can't have you sleeping in a tree, man. Get in here. But they never show where he winds up sleeping at night. I'm thinking she had him sleeping on the floor for a while. I
think so. He wasn't in the tree, and he wasn't in the bed.
Yeah, I think he was on the floor.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. I like that.
It had some really funny moments. And again, just when they go to the barn raising is I was blown away, and you weren't kidding, because you talk about that scene a lot.
The dance. There's a time. I won't even talk about them jumping on the boards.
Yeah, holy crap!
And doing backflips and landing. There's a point where the dandies are dancing with the girls, and the brothers have to come in and take them. But there's a way that they all move, like the dandies step out and the boys step in, and it's so seamless that I had to rewind. I was like, did I just see what they did, and how did they not trip over each other? I can't even imagine how much time it took for them to get this down. And Michael Kidd was the dance choreographer for this, which I was shocked by, because Michael Kidd he's known for a lot of quick dancey stuff. But I would have never put him in this movie, as the choreographer. He was more jumpy, jumpy movie, but this just seemed a little bit too elegant for him, for what little I know about the guy. But my God, the jumping on the boards up and down and doing backflips, and it's just amazing. It is one of the most tremendous dance sequences I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
Bar
I will
none.
agree with that. I'll say this early, and I'll say it again over and over. That scene is worth the price of admission right there.
Right?
To this movie. The whole before the fight starts. It's so funny because they're trying to get up. The brothers all worked up. The dandies they're hitting them with the boards.
Yeah.
One guy throws a hammer at him.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, I'm okay."
And Howard Keel's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Well, he doesn't swear because there's no swearing in the movie, but he's basically looking at his brothers like, "What is wrong with you guys? I've just seen this guy take a swipe at you."
Yeah.
And they're like, No. We promised Millie that we're not going to fight. And he's like, "She's turned you guys into a bunch of sissies."
Yeah.
These guys are hitting you with hammers. You deserve what you get.
But it doesn't. The peace doesn't hold for long.
No. And the funny thing is, when they first show up at the dance, all the girls are with the dandies. They turn around and see all these guys that are all these big lumberjack, wide shoulders. The smallest one is Gideon.
Yeah,
and I'm sure he's probably 6 foot tall anyway.
Right. Everybody else was giant.
Yeah, everybody else is freaking giants. And all the girls turn and see these guys. And that's when you look at the girls and you're like, they all just fell in love with every one of those brothers.
Right.
And all the brothers looked at the girls and fell in love with them because, well, there's 7 of them, there's 7 of us, and oh boy, or 6 of us, 6 and 6. And you can just see what's going to happen. You see it from a mile away. You know something's going to go on. And that dance scene, it's got to be one of, I tell you, it's got to be one of the best dance scenes I've ever seen in my life. And I remember seeing that as a little kid and going, how, even then as a kid, looking at that and going, how did they do that?
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
And I don't know that I've seen anything even remotely that intriguing as far as dance, because you have so many pieces moving and actually dancing. It's not like everybody was off to the side dancing in the background.
Yeah.
Like you and I talked about Grease, where they had a lot of people dancing, but everybody was kind of in their own little spot, which is really difficult to do. But these people were all 6, 12, 18 people going in and out of each other and dancing all at the same time with each other and switching and going back and forth. I just find that amazing.
Well, and it was really also, it wasn't done through, you don't watch it through a series of quick edit cuts. You're seeing that all of this is actually taking place and well choreographed, with the flipping through the air, the bouncing on the boards, up on the rafters of the barn. I wonder how many people got hurt. That's what I was thinking watching that. It's like, oh my God, how many people fell? But they were acrobats. It was insane, dude. I've never seen anything like it. And I would watch that scene over and over. It's amazing. It
is absolutely amazing. I would agree. One of my favorite scenes in the movie. Well, before that, I think the next thing happens is when all the brothers are sitting around being depressed. They're all in the barn. They're all moping. And he comes in with the book of the Sabine women, the story of the Sabine women.
Yeah.
And he's calling them the Sabine women. And he's telling his brothers, you got to go do what the Romans did. And they're like, now one brother asked, what, is that family that moved up north? He goes, no, this is old time.
This is history.
This is history. This really happened. He's like, this is the Sabine women. You got to go get your girls, and you got to go get them and just, make them yours. And don't worry, all the smooching and hugging and kissing will happen. It's no big deal. And he's telling them to go basically kidnap these women, and he's going to help them.
Yeah.
And you know that he knew it was wrong. And the reason I know that the character knew that it was wrong is because he didn't clear it with Millie first. He didn't go ask her opinion. So somewhere in his head, Howard Keel's character's head, he knew that it was the wrong thing to do and the wrong thing to be telling his brothers to do.
Just go get you and that
worked for me.
It's kind of wrong-headed.
It worked.
Yeah.
7 out of 7. That's not bad. That's not a bad roll of the dice.
Yeah.
But
Again,
before,
that whole thing, while comical, I did find, again, had to remind myself when this movie was made.
right. See,
So
that's my biggest problem, I think, with people that would watch something like this and try and judge it and say, "Oh, it's sexist. It's this. It's that."
sure,
No, it's not. It's.
well, it is, but
But back in 1840 or 1860, that wasn't
correct. That
considered
was
sexist.
right.
It's, you know, I mean,
But
you gotta look at it with your eye on the time period.
well,
That was
exactly, and
happening.
that's
And the
what I was
fact that
saying.
it's a musical and everything's going to end happily. You know?
But did it?
Yeah.
We'll get to the end. But no, you're absolutely correct, and we talk about this a lot of movies, and oh my God, how can people like 16 Candles, how horrible that
Yeah.
is, and you have to look at it as, again, in the 50s, when this was made, that whole mindset of women were property still at that point.
Yeah, they were to have children and cook and take care of the man.
So that
I
was the
guess,
mindset.
the common thinking.
And you can watch this and not be okay with that line of thinking. That's what I'm getting at. You can get enjoyment out of it as long as you know it was made back then. And so you take it at that value. Plus, it was also set in the 1890s.
Right.
So women were even valued less. So that was a more accurate portrayal.
Right.
So
right.
I think people forget you can watch something and it's not going to make you a sexist, misogynist person by watching something that has those themes.
Well, also with that said, look at Millie. I mean, as the character of Millie, there was 7 men there that were backwoodsmen that she didn't take any shit from not one of them. And all of them fell into line for her.
Yes.
Even the husband wound up falling into line for her. I mean, at some point.
He did.
I mean, but it's like, so yeah, if you're looking at it as broadly, it's like, oh, they're just being sexist and they're being this. But you have to look at the main female heroine. Who's very strong, didn't put up with a lot of crap, and made those men fall into line. And that's what I've noticed a lot about these movies that we watch over time, is there are a lot of strong women in these movies. I mean, even going back to Devil Girls from Mars.
Yeah.
That main protagonist or antagonist was a warlord. She was very strong. I still don't think she would have been outthought by Dippy Doo that was on the ship.
No,
but that's
I want the sequel. We know she survived.
Right.
She landed in London and men lined up for miles. That's
that's the sequel. And everybody lived happily ever after. But I guess my point is, like, all the movies that we watch that on the surface seem very chauvinistic and puerile and blah blah, fill in the blank, they always have a strong female lead that is putting the guy that is these things into line, like bringing him into her line of thinking, whether it's through attrition or through just sheer force of will. And in Millie's case, I think it was both. She knew she had power over these guys because she was going to take care of them, and they instantly looked at her as a power figure in their life. So you have a bunch of young guys that haven't had any female around telling them what to do, and all of a sudden there she is. Oh, okay, we're we're gonna just fall right into line for you. Yeah. So I think if somebody is going to watch this, they have to keep their eye on Millie. Yeah. That's
a fair
what I would
statement.
say, is keep your eye on Millie, and then keep your eye on how she is raising the women that come there. And with that said, a great scene that I've always liked is the snow scene when the men are working out in the yard.
That was really cool. Are you talking about where the saws were with the music?
Yes. And the guys are with the axe. That's one of the scenes I think I told you about that I just love. Yeah. And it's such a melancholy. These guys are so depressed. The women are so close and yet so far. They might as well have left them in town.
Yeah.
Because Millie's not letting them around these girls. She's keeping them safe. and away from the guys. And it's such a good scene with the axes hitting the ground
It is
or
neat.
hitting the wood just as the guy ends a line. And they're like, whoa. And then the guys are sawing, it's just, if anybody out there is a fan of musicals and fans of dance and let's say you're just sitting there thinking, should I try and make a musical? In my opinion, you look at Grease and you look at Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
You have to. Absolutely.
Each one of those songs in Seven Brides for Seven Brothers pushes the story along. Yep. Each one of the songs in Grease pushes the story along. And I think that when you look at it that way, when you look at the story and you look at the dance and you look at, because these guys are all melancholy while they're singing this song, and it's so depressing, but it's so well done.
Yes.
It's just, I can't even put it into words. Like, I look at this and I'm like, God, I wish I was that talented. I wish I could dance and move like that. I can't. I never could. I'm too short. And I'm Slavic. We do polkas.
There has got to be a niche for Slavic polka musicals.
There's got to be. I haven't found it. Maybe I'll make one. The Slavic polka musical.
I'm down.
For everyone. No. Oompa, 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 oompa.
There's got to be. But you're right. This is one of those, even if you're just a film buff and you like musicals, you have to watch this. This is a must watch for it, just to see what the hell they did. Holy crap.
Just the dancing alone. I like whenever Millie, to go back into town when Millie's going to the town and Gideon says he's going to go with her, because Gideon just wants to see a girl. He's not there for any particular reason. Then all the brothers pile onto the cart and they all go into town. Millie,
and they get in a fight.
They're parked out in front of the store, and Millie tells them, "Stay here. Don't get out of the cart. Don't look at anybody. Don't talk to anybody. Stay here. Gideon's going in with me. I don't need anybody else to go in with me." So the guys are all sitting there, and she's told them how to talk to girls, or she's told them to just be nice to girls. She hasn't actually taught them how to talk to girls.
Would you like a big chaw of tobacco? It's good tobacco.
And the girl gets offended. It's like, why are you offended? It's really good tobacco.
Yeah, they were idiots.
And he winds up getting into a fight with like 3 or 4 guys. Millie comes out and says, "Aren't you going to help him?" And the one brother says, "There's only 3 little ones." She tells him, "You got to end this now." And in one punch, each guy, he just piles them up. He's like, "It's ended." And she grabs him, "Get in that cart." She yells at everybody in front of every townsfolk. He's got these 6 big burly bears just basically quivering in the cart.
It was great. Yeah, I forgot about that till you mentioned that. But yeah, that's...
It's good tobacco. Oh, God, that's such a funny scene.
So, he talks the brothers into, if they want to have what he has, they've got to go get their wife, get themselves a wife. So they decide to go kidnap him. And this brings one of the funniest scenes is Gideon outside of the girl he wants' house, meowing like a cat.
Meow, 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 meow.
But when they tell him to hurry up, he starts just starts howling, just trying to get her attention as much as possible. It was so goddamn funny.
What's funny is one of the dandies that's in there courting the girl that Gideon wants. So he says, "I'll go get the cat, don't worry." And he gets up and he goes out and he sees Gideon around the corner and he says something to him. And then one of the brothers pops over the thing and just knocks the guy in the head and knocks him out. One punch. I mean, it's a solid hit right on the head. Knocks that guy right out. "Hurry up, Gideon." Then Gideon's just meow, 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 meow. Oh, my God. And then the girl comes out and he finally gets the girl that he's trying to get the attention of. Oh, God, that's a funny scene. I forgot about that one. Then they get them. They're on the cart, and the townsfolk finds out that the boys have stolen all their girls, and they're going to go. They're sending the posse, and they get the Echo Pass. And if the girls are too loud, everything's going to cave in on them. It's just going to be a huge landslide. So they wait until they get past the pass, the valley, or whatever it is. He lets the girls start screaming, and the guy starts shooting his gun in the air, and it just covers the snow, just avalanches into the thing. So they can't. They're stuck. They're literally stuck with the brothers for what, 6 or 8 months.
Quite a while, yeah.
They sing the song, and it's May before the pass clears.
Yeah, it's long enough for Millie to have a baby.
Yeah, so it's got to be at least 9 months. Yeah. So it's May, because they sing the one song and they're going through all the months.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's May and everything's starting to clear up. But I like the girls when they're in the boys' room, and Julie Newmar's character is laying on the bed, and she's like, I wonder which boy laid in this bed. And then all the girls just look at her like, oh, you shouldn't say things like that. And she's like, you can't tell me you never wondered whose bed you're sleeping in. And the one girl's standing in her underwear by the window, looking out the window, looking for a guy, looking for somebody to look at her. That's a good scene. That's just a funny scene.
After they brought him back for the first time or whatever, when the brothers are outside the house, the women are opening up the doors, throwing snowballs, dumping water on them.
Throw the water.
Oh my God.
The water had to have been awful. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But that's a very, the whole movie is just great, because at some point Millie's trying to watch the girls and make sure they don't go out with the guys. And it's bad enough when she had the 6 guys that she's trying to take care of. Yeah. Now suddenly she has 6 women that she has to take care of, and she has to tell the girls she's pregnant. And all the girls start freaking out. Oh, this is great. They're all going to help her, and they're all helping. And because she needs help, because she's pregnant, they start meeting up with the guys.
Yep.
Nothing bad. They're just holding hands and walking and talking, but they're starting to court. Mm-hmm. The girls are already attracted to these guys, from the first time they seen them at the barn dance. But now they're doing the actual courting, and through Millie's intervention, if you will, she's making sure nothing too bad happens.
Yeah.
And I thought was really good. The scenes with them just walking around and they're singing their song for the right before is it right before the baby gets born?
I think so. When they have all the baby animals and all the.
Yeah, they're feeding all the animals and stuff like that. That was a good scene. And it really shows the passage of time for them. I like that. And the one brother, Gideon, after the baby's born, Gideon rides up to the shack where the eldest brother is at, Adam.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a good scene, because that brother's probably about as big as me. Gideon's probably about as big as me, and Adam is probably about the size of a house.
Yeah, and Gideon punches him.
And Gideon's like, what did he say? I always wanted to be like you, but I'd be no kind of man if I don't show you how I feel. And he just wallops him. I mean, he hits him solid right in the jaw. And he just barely moves. Yeah. Any other guy would have got knocked out.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's a turning point for Adam. Because he ran up to hide in the cabin because he just couldn't take it. And that's honestly, and that reflects on where his head was in the wrong place when he went and got Millie.
Right, right.
And so he finally realizes that there's more to Millie than just a workhorse. Mm-hmm. And he had a good arc there, and came around.
Well, it gave him time to think on his own about the family and her and everything. I think he even says that. Yeah. Right. Whenever he comes back. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's but yeah, they have a baby, which I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Well, so he wasn't on the floor the whole time.
Not the whole time. At some point, he did get up off the floor.
At least once.
At least once. But the pass clears, and the townsfolk are coming to get their daughters. And that's a funny scene in itself. What surprised me is the amount of humor in this movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
By this time, the women do not want to go back to town.
No.
All the brothers have decided the right thing to do. Well, actually, Adam convinces them that the right thing to do is to take them back because they were in the wrong. And
well, one of the reasons too is the one brother's like, well, we'll fight him. We'll get our guns. We'll fight him. He says to him,
yeah,
what are you going to do? You're going to kill one of their dad, you're going to hurt
yeah,
one of
your
their
brother,
brothers or their
yeah,
dad. And, then you'll never have these girls. So
yeah,
the brothers are like, yeah, you're right. If we fight him and kill somebody, this is going to be bad. We'll never get our girls then.
yeah. So it's funny. They want to take them back, but the girls want to stay now. So they're trying to, this led to a funny scene for me. I forget which one it was, but they ran into a barn and one of them tackles the girl and they're in the hay and it doesn't look like she's trying to get away or he's trying to help her. It looks like he's trying to rape her.
Yeah, because he's trying to grab her and pull her and she's like,
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's not the scene that you want your dad to walk in on. Back
and that's exactly what happens.
With a shotgun.
Yeah. Yeah. Things aren't exactly what they seem right there. And
and that's, I think, the whole point of that is that whole scene is it's not what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole saying. It's the old saying. This isn't what it looks like. Well, it really wasn't.
It really wasn't. But they didn't know that. The townsfolk didn't know that.
No. For good reason. You know, you're going to hang them.
Yeah, they rounded him up. They were going to kill him.
Yeah, they had the rope. They had everything they needed.
And that's probably something that would have happened at that point in time.
Yeah, I like what the preacher, whenever the preacher asks the girls,
who's the baby? Or whose baby is
he's like, when I came up here, I heard a wee baby crying. Who does it? And he's like, we're all fathers here. Whose child is this? And all the girls turn and look at each other at the same time. They all get a smile, and they all look up and go, mine. All at the same time.
Yeah. And they ended up getting married right there on the spot.
Yeah. Yeah, the shotgun wedding was a nice scene, too.
Yes, it was. It literally was a shotgun wedding.
Do you girls take these men? And the girls all look back, and the fathers are just like, yeah, yes, we do. And then they say, oh, do you boys take these men? And they turn around, and all the dads with the shotguns take a step forward. Yep. They're like, we do. They're going to marry him anyway. But
yeah. So, no, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I do think this movie deserves to have a caveat put in front of it that you cannot look at it with modern sensibilities. So,
you know what?
And other than that, it's good.
With us saying that, I have no problem with it. But whenever companies do that, I kind of have a problem with it. It's just like, it's just a movie. It's a movie that was made back in the 50s or 60s. Just watch it for what it is. That's like watching Casablanca and saying, stealing is bad or Nazis were bad.
Well, yeah,
don't be a Nazi. Think, well, no shit.
Yeah, I don't think the company needs to come out and put a disclaimer like HBO did with Gone with the Wind or anything.
Right, that's bullshit.
We know that. Since we talk about movies, I just want to throw out to our listeners, hey,
yeah.
You know what?
No, I get that. I'm just saying, like, a company should just let the cartoon go, let the movie go, and just play it for what it is. French Connection, doesn't need to have a caveat going, hey, dealing heroin's a bad thing, don't do it.
Well, exactly.
Thanks.
Exactly. You shouldn't have to tell somebody that something's a product of its time.
Right,
you get that, and I'll be honest with you, the people bitching about this movie probably haven't even seen it.
Yeah. I'm sure there's people bitching about it, but I don't care.
There is. I looked it up. There's a lot of discussion of it. Yeah. But
I absolutely love this movie. It's a weird romantic tale. And like you said, it was made back in the 50s. It's the girl, Millie, the main character, Joan Powell, falls just in love with Adam when she sees him. She sees him walk through the door and she's in love. It takes him longer to realize that he's more in love with her than he wants to admit, basically. Mm-hmm. I think he's always been in love with her. I just don't think he ever negotiated the feelings. He never had to. That was something... Yeah. Mom and dad didn't have those feelings, kind of thing.
Well, and yeah, exactly. And that's, I think it's just a product of our time that I don't want to say people look to be offended, but they do.
Oh yeah. If some people are looking, and if they're not being offended, they're not happy, but boy, they love being miserable.
Yeah.
Let it go, man. Just watch the movie for what it is. If you like the movie, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
Yeah.
I love this movie. This is, like I said, this is one of my all-time favorite musicals. Um, and on the extreme opposite end of that is Carousel. I cannot stand Carousel.
I'm going to have to watch Carousel just to see.
I don't think you're going to like it. It's got some good songs in it, but for me, how this movie makes me feel while I'm watching it and having fun, and the singing of the Sabine women, and the spring song when they're cutting the wood, and all that, it makes you feel good. It's like, yeah, this is a good feeling song. Carousel doesn't make me feel good. Like there's a couple of good songs, but when it's said and done, I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
I won't ruin it for you, but it's like, really?
Now, and that's one of the things about this. You asked me what did I think. The first thing I said is I had fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah.
That barn raising scene for me will go down as one of the greatest scenes in cinema.
I was honestly, I wanted to know how you felt, but
Yeah.
I wanted to wait for this. I didn't. That's why I didn't ask you when I was texting earlier. It's great. I don't know if this movie won any awards.
It did.
I don't know if it won.
It did. It did win. I want to say Academy Award for something. It might have even been Best Picture.
Yeah, I could see that, especially for the time. And it was in CinemaScope.
Right. And it looked good. The real scenes that they had.
Yeah.
It was clearly set on a stage.
Well, I think you have to, wouldn't you?
Nah.
No.
Nah. I know they weren't going to film on location.
Yeah. This could rain, could get muddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the barn raising scene I just love, especially when the guys are trying to be nice to the girls.
Yes.
And they're getting something. The boys are like, I'll carry that. I'll carry that. I'll carry that.
It's great in that aspect, and that's why I say this is one of the has a place in musical history as a must see. It has people should if you're a fan of musicals, you have to watch this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I am not a fan of the story per se, but I enjoyed the movie.
You don't like kidnaps?
No. I like I said, I had to tell myself, hey, well, you're watching a movie from the 50s, set in the late 1800s.
Right.
This kind of makes me cringe, but I'm watching this movie because it's entertaining. Even then, it was still entertaining, but I can see the problems with it. But there were no problems with it in the 50s. When this was made. So that being said, it is what it is. And I think you should be able to watch something and enjoy it without having that completely, we say it all the time, you can't look through your 2020 lenses.
Right. And I would have to say that, again, I'll bring up to anybody who's listening or watching this, the fact that almost every movie, and I can't really think of a movie off bat except for Spider Baby, where the lady wasn't strong with the one who fell down in the underwear.
She did that on purpose.
I know she did.
She had a thing for Ralph. It was very obvious. And then at the end, when she just threw herself in there with Uncle Ned in the pit.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
Just crazy. That's what drugs and booze do to you.
Yeah.
But other than like that one movie, I think just about every movie that we've seen with a female lead has been very strong.
Even Chopping Mall.
Even Chopping Mall, yeah. I mean, of course, her dad was a Marine, but what do you expect?
Well, yeah, but, and I'm going to bring that point up, and I was thinking about this morning. 80s horror films, 70s and 80s horror films, you always end up with a woman at the end. They are all about female empowerment, and the strong women survive. And 80s slashers get called out for being sexist, misogynistic films, but it's always the Sigourney Weaver, really?
Right.
Linda Hamilton. We can go on and on and on. Jamie Lee Curtis. So it's, not weak women.
This, a little off topic, but
Millie.
Still on. And Millie. Dean Martin did 4 movies of the Matt Helms series. He's like a super spy, like 007 kind of guy. His undercover is being a model, a photographer, of calendar girls and stuff like that. And on the surface, It's very sexist. You look at this and you see all these beautiful women just posing in these silly costumes, and he's taking pictures. And these all turn out to be the Matt Helm girls. And when I say that, Matt Helm generally gets himself into a problem at some point in the movie. And the girls that are his army, for lack of a better term, always wind up saving him. They're always very powerful women. And it's always been funny to me when I read things about Matt Helm or those movies, and they're like, oh, he's so sexist, he's this, he's that. But they always forget the fact that these women have more than once saved Matt Helm.
Yeah.
They've more than once pulled his bacon out of the fire, you know? So that's, I guess, why I don't give any movie a caveat for me.
Yeah,
I watch it for what it is. It's like The Lady is a Tramp, the song The Lady is a Tramp. Initial listening, you're like, oh, you're calling a girl a tramp. The singer's not calling a girl a tramp. They're referring to how the other women are looking at this girl because she doesn't play games. She goes out to have fun. She's not there to get laid. She's not there to get diamonds. She's just out having fun with her friends.
Right.
And suddenly that's the name she's being called by all these women who are money grubbing broads, you know? So, and I've had to explain that to people before, and they've gone and listened to the song, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah, thanks. I know I'm right. Huge Frank Sinatra fan.
It's the same shit with Baby It's Cold Outside.
Yes, thank you. That's anybody who's offended by that song has
don't
never
watch
flirted.
This movie.
yeah, don't watch this movie and has never flirted with anyone.
Yeah.
You don't know the difference between flirting and rape. Sorry. And there's a huge, huge, huge chasm of a difference.
Yes.
My rant's over.
I was looking forward to discussing this movie because it has, you know, I think all in all, it just makes these men look pretty bad.
Well, in the beginning, yeah. Because,
yes, in the beginning.
They don't do it out of being mean. They don't do it out of, you know, we're going to go kidnap us some women.
They're just ignorant.
They meant to kidnap a preacher so they could get married.
That's right.
They forgot the preacher. The one guy's like, wait, we forgot the preacher. And it's like, well, too late to go back now.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is the preacher was one of the girls that got kidnapped. That was their dad. So I don't know how the hell you'd explain that.
Yeah.
But they just forgot the preacher. They got sidetracked. Whatever. Yeah. But their whole intent was to get married. There was more stupidity than anything else.
It was.
They didn't know how to court. They didn't have time to go courting.
They were following the same path as Adam.
Right.
They didn't. It took him months to realize that you don't just go snatch somebody up. It took him a while to realize that. And they did too over the course of many months when they did start courting and everything.
Exactly.
And then it became real and they grew. And yeah, it's
well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's just on the premise, let's go kidnap us some wives.
Let's go get us some wives. But I love the thought of that because they were so dumb.
Yeah.
And Adam had to, like I said, have known that it was the wrong thing to do because he never brings it up.
That's a great point.
Because Millie would have looked at him and said, what in the hell is wrong with you?
She was in charge.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why he didn't bring it up, because I'm the man and I'm going to go do what I do. And she just kicks him out of the house.
Yeah.
That's what I like, is whenever she tells all the boys to go sleep in the barn and Adam starts walking up like he's going to go in the house. And she's like, puts her hand on his chest and is like, no, you go too. No man is in this house.
Yep.
And one of the brothers, hold on, I got his name here. The actor, the dancer. Come on. The guy's name was Ephraim Jacques D'Amboise.
Wow.
Evidently a French guy. Could be French-Canadian, could be French. But he was on loan from the New York City Ballet.
I believe it.
That's the guy that had the axe in the snow scene whenever they're doing the dance, and he's got the axe and he's swinging it around and he's got it like on the ground and he's moving, and I don't know how the hell he does it, but he does his leg up in the air and does like a spin and comes down. I don't know how he didn't fall and break his ass. That explains how he didn't fall and break his ass.
Because he did ballet.
He was a ballet.
Yeah, and when you mentioned that, I remember looking at that scene and seeing the movements that were very much like a ballet movement. I was going to call him a ballerina, but I don't know what you call a male ballet.
Ballet guy?
Yeah, the ballet guy. Not the guy that gets your car, but the guy that dances.
Yeah, exactly. Where's my car? But yeah, there's a lot to like about this movie. But
yes.
Like what you said, you have to look at it at the time that it was made. You can't look at it now. I mean, if you're just looking for something to be angry about, please don't watch this movie.
You're probably not watching us.
Yeah, you're definitely not watching it. Yeah, good point. You're not listening to anything we say.
Yeah. So I guess it doesn't matter. I mean,
good point. And go watch Matt Helm movies. They're great. I love them.
Yeah. I mean, hell. So, final thoughts. Great movie. Loved the dancing, the singing, the choreography. It is absolutely amazing. I cannot recommend it enough to watch for that and that alone. I mean, you can, if you enjoy the story, great. If not, great. But the dancing is phenomenal.
Oh, that barn raising scene, like you
shit.
said, that freaking barn raising scene with them jumping on the wood and jumping back and forth. I think at one point there's two guys and they're doing like jumping back and forth on two pieces of wood. And I'm sure it's supported. I'm sure it's nailed down into place. I'm sure they took all kinds of safety cautions, but I'm sure those guys busted their ass a lot to get this movie shot the way that they choreographed it. And for Michael Kidd to have done the choreography for this was news to me because I never saw who did the choreography until I watched it today. And I was kind of shocked because I don't ever remember him doing anything this smooth, for lack of a better term. And he's just fantastic. You know, the guy was just a miracle worker when it came to stuff like that. And the scenes, the dancing, the singing. I mean, Joan Powell. Yeah. Need I say more? If you're a guy looking for a beautiful woman to look at, Joan Powell. If you're a woman looking for a great guy to look at, Howard Keel. You know, if you're a guy looking for a guy to look at, Howard Keel.
As long as you like gingers, there's 7 of them.
Exactly. In this movie, he's a ginger. But yeah, it's just a good story. I enjoy it, and for what it is, I absolutely love it. And for the dancing, the singing,
it's amazing.
Just great. And I just love how it ends. Whose baby is that? They all look at each other. Mine.
Yeah.
So they all have to get married because back then there were no DNA tests.
Nope. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's Old Ass Movie Reviews. And it also ends our month of January of musicals. We fire off the month of February with war movies. So stay tuned to see what we watch. Till next time.
Cheers.